Hey, what's up, you guys? Great to have you back on the show. I'm Sean David. Let's talk some old school basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk about Frank Brickowski, a player that is just known to the hardcore NBA fans of the 1990s and was just remembered for the final series between the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls and how Dennis Rodman basically embarrassed Frank Brickowski. But before we start with this video, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also click on the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you want to support my channel and you want to get access to exclusive podcasts with me and former NBA stars, check out my Patreon account. I'm always grateful for every supporter. And without any more blah blah, let's get right into this episode.
Which saw Dennis Rodman get the better of this exchange with Frank Brickowski. If Brickowski's intention was to rile the Rodman, that strategy backfired. As a result of the elbow, Brickowski was hit with a flagrant foul. He gave Rodman a mouthful. Eventually, he'd continue arguing with both Rodman and Jack Haley, who Brickowski referred to as Rodman's babysitter. Referee Joey Crawford had heard enough at that point. He gave Brickowski a second technical, thereby tossing the brick.
Now you have Dennis Rodman, who laughs at the NBA referees, who laughs at the NBA authority. That elbow that Frank Brickowski was a flop. Rodman flopped it into a flagrant foul. And then you get two technicals on top of it. I think the call had a big impact on the game.
Alright, you guys, since I'm pretty sure that not everybody knows Frank Brickowski, let me give you just a short summary of that dude. Frank Brickowski was born on the 14th August in 1959 in New York. He played high school basketball for the Locust Valley High School, New York, and attended the University of Penn State from 1977 until 1981. He had a decent college career, but he knew right from the start that he would have to fight his way into the NBA. In the 1981 NBA draft, he was drafted in the third round with the 57th pick by his hometown, the New York Knicks. But he not even got to play one single game for the Knicks, but was released and then picked up by the Seattle Supersonics, who saw some potential in the 6'9" big. In his rookie season, he averaged 4.9 points per game, 3.3 rebounds in 14 minutes, so not too bad. It took him a while and a few years, but in 1987 he had his breakout season with the San Antonio Spurs. Remember, at those days, that was a little bit before David Robinson came, and that season he averaged 16 points and 7 rebounds a game. For the next 8 years, he had 7 seasons where he averaged double digits before he had to sit out an entire season in 1994. In 1995, he then got signed by the Seattle Supersonics, so by the team that signed him in the first place, where he made it to the NBA Finals. So as you can see, Frank Brickowski was no scrub and definitely a decent NBA player. And if it wasn't for that certain incident in 1996, I'm pretty sure that he would have a good reputation. But then, yes, the finals in 1996 happened between the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls, and Dennis Rodman took over. That season to me was the greatest season in NBA history, and I gotta be honest, that is a totally biased opinion, but that's just my opinion. The Chicago Bulls had a Michael Jordan, a Scottie Pippen, and a Dennis Rodman, and an incredible supporting cast with Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, and those guys. And they had that record season of 72 wins, and they just killed every single team in the playoffs until they reached the finals to play against the incredible, talented Seattle Supersonics with Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, and yes, Frank Brickowski, the starting center of that team whose job it was to dominate the boards. Well, and at that time, if your job was to dominate the boards, there was one big problem. That would mean you have to control Dennis Rodman. And I think the strategy was clear. Frank Brickowski's job was to frustrate Dennis Rodman, to be physical with him, and just hope that this guy has an off night or completely loses it. And this is exactly where the problem lies. I mean, how can you control or even contain Dennis Rodman? I mean, it's impossible, especially in that season. Let me give you some stats. That guy averaged 5.5 points per game. Okay, so far so good. But he also averaged 14.9 rebounds. Listen, 14.9 rebounds a game in only 32 minutes. Just imagine he would average like 38 minutes like most starters would have. That would be like 17 or 18 rebounds. So Frank Brickowski's job was basically mission impossible, but it was still the best option the Seattle Supersonics had because they couldn't risk putting Shawn Kemp or Dennis Rodman because of the foul problems. So Frank Brickowski was the man. And it seemed like Frank Brickowski knew even before the series started that stopping Dennis Rodman will be, well, not an easy task.
Ball player, and they sent him in a goon role and to play a part, and I don't think Frank wants to or needs to play that part.
My job is to go in and play defense and keep Dennis off the board, and that's a big job for me. You know, Dennis is a brilliant rebounder. I'm desperate in the sense that I'm here for the first time in my career, and I will do anything to help my team win. And if it means knocking Dennis on his butt, that's what I'll do. And Dennis will do the same to me. So the clarity of all that is cool as far as the championship goes, and I don't have a problem with any of that.
The Bulls and the Sonics were battling it out, but Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen weren't the only difference makers. Dennis Rodman was simply amazing. Just have a look. This wasn't the only way how Dennis Rodman influenced that series. In his battles against Frank Brickowski, well, he was just too much for Frank Brickowski to handle.
Bill, Dennis Rodman has to be very careful already with that first technical foul. Any kind of talking or two players getting together like that, and he will get whistled for that second and be tossed.
It's absurd that Dennis Rodman can walk around acting like, look what they're doing to me. They're hitting me, they're pushing me. Dennis Rodman initiates all that stuff. Rodman inside there, just keeps walking right into Brickowski. Elbows, arms all tied up. Innocent victim, Dennis. Defenders, he's just trying to go through him or over him. That won't work.
Joe Crawford says stay right here, and Dennis Rodman could be losing it. Now he's applauding the call. Rodman was about to get involved and then walked away.
Joe Crawford is going to call a flagrant foul here on Frank Brickowski.
Rodman, who has had his ups and downs at the line, is able to hit the first for his first point of the night.
Brickowski looking to box out.
Now Judd Bushler replaces Dennis Rodman. The conversation continues. And a technical has been called on Brickowski. Brickowski, apparently Joe Crawford feels that the intent of Brickowski was to instigate something against Rodman. Brickowski now walking in the direction of a couple of balls, and he's joined by a security man and is ushered back to the locker room.
And he got a couple of parting shots to referee. Have your heart in your throat at all times when they get tangled up. And see, Dennis initiates all that by getting his arms tangled up underneath the other player and then makes it appear that in this case, Frank Brickowski is doing the holding.
Once again, with the game not in the balance, a 22-point lead. But these are certainly two of the freest spirits in the NBA. We don't need any sort of altercation here that would take away from this beautiful exhibition of basketball today by the Chicago Bulls.
Now, would this be considered taunting?
I was just going to say, why is that not taunting? Just a look and almost baiting Frank Brickowski to do something. Dennis has to settle down, play basketball, go play golf with Michael Jordan tomorrow and get ready for Game 4.
But if you can't, shot clock down to 4.
Jordan. And Rodman and Brickowski get involved. It looks like Pavetta has given the ejection sign. This has been brewing the last couple of minutes. I think he's thrown both out of the game. Well, for Dennis, certainly a guy who enjoys the circus atmosphere that he has created.
All right, you guys, that was the story of Frank Brickowski and his battles with Dennis Rodman, who unfortunately kind of killed his reputation. But still, in my opinion, Frank Brickowski was definitely a decent player.
I just think that, Seattle have totally got out their rhythm, out their game, because all they're doing now is trying to mess with me, try to get in my head. But they don't understand, though. You can't mess with the master. You can't mess with the master.
Hey, you guys, if you're active on Facebook, I can really recommend Open Court. As an NBA fan, you should find everything you need. If it's funny NBA videos, impressive highlights, or even NBA news, I check out Open Court every day.